Welcome, everybody, to another night of Pro League here. It is Tuesday. We are live at the Next Arena. We are going to jump into a couple of pretty nice matches here. I am Valdez, with me is Wolf once again.
Yep, there's going to be some fun matches today. Not going to lie, one of them much better than the other, but we'll see how that ends up working out today. Here's CJ Antis currently at 3-2 with a +3 score. And, of course, their opponents, Prime, sponsored recently by Shecom, coming in here with 0-5 and -13.
Yep. They're playing for their pride at this point. Just trying to show decent games here. YoDa still having that blank, apathetic face. We'll see what he can do against one of the strongest Protoss currently in Korea. Going up against herO. Not looking good for him and Prime so far here. CJ in a pretty nice spot to take a lot of points. And if SK Telecom T1 does lose their final game, then it is possible for CJ Antis to get first place here in round 4. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely a possibility. For Prime, they're already guaranteed last place. I think they can do to change that now. And so as a result, I don't expect to see some of their best play ever today. There's Tang there on the end. Now, keep in mind, if Boom Boom loses 2 matches in a row today and last week, I've been told you'll have the worst record in Pro League history individually. We didn't take a selfie there. We got to do that right now. My phone's being slow. What are we going to do?
It's okay. We can take it on air if you so please, Wolf. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting for Boom Boom. He is going up against Ragnarok in game number 2. Ragnarok, a guy we don't see too often. I wonder if they're just sending him out here to try to get some, more booth experience.
Sure. I mean, every point counts, obviously, and at this point, Ragnarok is pretty decent. Like, you should be able to beat, theoretically, anybody on Prime, but, I think this might be, like you said, trying to get some more booth experience.
And you do see here the team rankings for round 4. SK Telecom T1 up at the top.
Yeah.
5-1 with a +9 indicator.
And, looking down at the bottom, Generic Green Wings with their loss yesterday will actually not be eligible for making the postseason in round 4. They're already confirmed out, along with Prime, the only 2 teams.
Yeah. herO coming out today. He's going up against YoDa. He should tie Zest here. I think if he does not, that would be a gigantic upset. But we'll see what YoDa has prepared. The players that are up here, Biel, 17-10, the closest to those 2 guys.
Yeah, Lucera having possibly the worst record in the top page there at 14-13. Not a very good ratio there to be on the front page, but he's still got a good amount of records. Bravo as well, someone I look at here, is now actually tied with Dream's loss yesterday. Dream looking really dejected in his past few matches. Well, Prime, full of purple arrows. herO versus YoDa. Okay, that one should be pretty easy to predict. Ragnarok versus Boom Boom. Well, it's a ZVZ, but if you look at Boom Boom's record, it'll hurt your eyes. Byung versus Keen, of course, on Echo. Maybe one of the better chances that Prime has today. Keen, possibly able to win a TVT. And then Biel versus Tang in a ZVT. Biel just beat Innovation on Terraform versus Innovation's mech. I would never in a million years expect Tang to even deck Biel.
Yeah, that's, I think, out of all of these, even more so than the herO versus YoDa game, Biel versus Tang should be a mega stomp, a Megasaurus stomp there on Terraform. The jungle map should be not so much fun for Tang. We'll see if we even get there, though. I mean, that's game number 4.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect it to even get there, to be honest, at this point. Prime, I think they've won 2 or 3 matches. 2 or 3 maps is what I should say.
Yeah.
Of course, they're 0-5, and they have, also 1 penalty points here. It's kind of out of control.
They have -13, so if you keep that in mind, they must have won 2 games only. But otherwise, they'd have -15, so with 2 wins.
Well, they have 1 penalty point as well, so I think it's 3 wins.
Okay, you're right then.
1. Here we'll get at least 20 wins for 3 consecutive seasons with the win today. That's pretty impressive, in fact.
Have you seen how it's worded, actually? It doesn't even necessarily say if he wins. Prime will be losing 13 straight matches if they lose today. So
breaking records tonight.
Yeah, the worst record ever.
That's what we're looking to do.
Oh,
it's
man.
kind of sad.
Well,
Prime.
I want to talk about this idea a little bit more once we get into the game. The idea of where Prime is at right now. And just a reminder, the clock is gone. If you haven't been watching for a few weeks, you probably don't know about this, but to try to stop illegal betting from going on using the game timer for certain events, it's been removed, but we'll still give you guys some updates.
Here is herO. Always looking good in that booth. Was getting his makeup done earlier today. He's 11-2 versus Terran. One of the best records we do have against one race here.
His early parts of this season were so good and so flawless that if he hadn't started falling off recently and taking some big upset losses to Zerg players rushing him, with burrowed roach strategies and things like that, he'd probably be at like 26 wins right now, but he's had a bit of a tougher time. Clearly a tougher time putting that Kespa pin on his shirt.
As if they didn't have enough patches as well. Got to put that in here.
YoDa
is YoDa.
0-9 versus Protoss. 6-19 in Pro League total matches. One of the best Terran players at the beginning of Art of the Swarm. One of the big hitters for IM and GSTL. And also, a consistent Codes player for a long time. But nowadays, he's fallen pretty far.
Yep, and I think he's now on either a 14 or 15 game losing streak, the likes of which we have not seen for years. So keep that in mind. Definitely fallen off since round number 1. Guys, it looks like we are going to get into game number 1 here. herO versus YoDa on Vaani Research Station right now. Up here in the north, in the yellow for Sejantis, it is herO.
And down here at the bottom of the map in purple, it's YoDa. As you guys can see, Prime has been sponsored now by Shecom, a company that appears to be working with the old STX coach. Gerard has left coaching Prime and has moved into focusing his League of Legends team, which is not a Prime team, but is actually once was Prime, but now is sponsored by Spenu's Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
One of the most
Gotta
annoying,
love that name.
one of the most annoying things you could ever deal with in Street Fighter if you're playing against a Guile player. Well, let's talk about the Prime team for a little while here, as we kind of see this early game. Because
talk about it.
I feel like I do read a lot of what the community thinks about this team. I do read a lot of what the foreign fans and the Korean fans are saying about this team, how they feel about Prime's performance. And it seems to be kind of split, I'd say about 50-50. Half the old Prime fans are kind of saying like, oh, I'm really sad, this is so sad, but I want to see them do well. The other half of them are just simply trashing on the team and saying the team is worthless and other mean and harmful things. But looking at the results in Pro League, if you want to go back and look at the hybrid Pro League, you want to look at last year's Pro League and even the first Pro League that had an EGTL. You look at EGTL, the harshest statements I think I've ever seen about a pro team were written about EGTL when they played in Pro League, and yet EGTL's Pro League records were massively better than Prime. Anything Prime has really shown us in the last 2 years. I just want to point out that when you and I talk about this team, we make comments such as, this is kind of the bonus round, like when you face Prime, you want to get 3 points, otherwise you're not getting the full potential of what you see. It's not because we're trying to make jokes. It's not because we're trying to demean the team. It's just simply put at this point, insanely unreasonable to say anything else. I don't want to lie to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in beating around the bush. It's like this weird purple elephant in the room, and everybody's like, well, keeps pooping all over the place. What are we going to do with this guy?
It's the same purple color as the purple down arrows of every Prime player.
And the purple of Prime themselves, it's actually their color.
I know. It's
kind of funny the way that works out.
It just ends up being this chain reaction of all sorts of bad things.
It's actually unlucky to get the purple color because then you're doomed to purple arrows.
So, I mean, I just kind of wanted to close this topic because I do every now and then, see Prime fans tweet at me and say, I can't believe you would say this about the team. And I don't mean to demean the team that you love. I just mean to tell you that statistically, and this has been going on for a while now, going into our 6th week of round 4 after several other weeks of failed rounds, Prime is looking terrible record-wise. All of their players, the players they have left, that is to say, the 4 players they have on their roster, which makes their roster more predictable, are not accomplishing anything. So let's see if YoDa can change that today.
Well, look at this. He's going to come into the main with that Reaper, and he's looking for some tech. He sees both gases here, but did not take the back door for any kind of expand. But he did see that pylon.
Yeah, he didn't see what was underneath it. When you see a pylon like that, you know, there might be something there, but do you really want to risk losing your Reaper to check? It's a tough decision. But it is kind of interesting he didn't check for the Nexus because, well, I mean, that could have given him a lot of extra information. Plus, you know, it's a cool move by here to place the Stargate there, because if you see the pylon alone, you might think there's nothing there, but you have to think about the depth of where it can go to. We do have a Hellion nearby up here as well, so he could try to come in here and get some more scouting information, but the Oracle is heading across the map now. Not a single turret.
Oh boy, there's
nothing.
only 2 Marines left, or rather that have been made so far. He was trying to make a Widow Mine at the same time.
All right, well, he could actually just kill those Marines. I can't believe he's not. He's like in shock of how little is over here.
There's no Widow Mine. There's only 4 Marines. Those are the only things that can shoot air at this point.
Yeah.
And
hero's control here pretty lackluster, I have to say. I mean, he definitely could have killed those 2 Marines earlier and killed like 12 SCVs. There's literally nothing to stop him, but he was, I guess, paying more attention to the Hellion in his base as well as the Reaper, so that's probably why he didn't end up defending that.
Yeah, it was a weird circumstance, actually. When I saw going into the game, herO was taking a big, deep breath as if he was very nervous. Kind of something you're not expecting going up against, Prime and someone like YoDa. I mean, herO is one of the best Protosses that we do have over here.
Sure. He's going to actually go ahead and drop down the 3rd Nexus at 645 because he's seen that what's in YoDa's base is just not threatening. You know, he's already defended the first Hellion. You know, he's going to have Phoenixes to deal with follow-up Widow Mine drops. There's very few bio units on the ground, so he knows that taking a 3rd base is really safe right now. And he also has that threatening potential with his Oracle, with his Phoenixes to harass later on, to slow down those types of attacks. Warping in a few sentries right now. hero's in an incredible position, and YoDa definitely going to have to try to gear up to take his own 3rd soon, I would say.
Oracle coming back around, looking for some more damage, but there are a lot of Marines out now and the missile turret, so not going to be finding that damage. But the one thing he's doing with that Oracle is keeping YoDa back in the base. YoDa's not going to scout this 3rd base for a very long time. And as you mentioned, these Phoenix is going to have a lot of utility here in the middle game and later on as well.
Yeah.
We'll see if he stays on it or if he just makes 5 and then eventually transitions. That's kind of the more standard and what we see more often. If they are going to go into Phoenix Colossi, you usually see, more production of those Phoenixes a bit later on after you get other techs.
Absolutely. Just kind of using the early Phoenixes to be safe and then adding them later, like you said. We do see this Oracle in detection mode to see if he can actually find any Widow Mines to make sure that he's not going to take a massive hit with these very flimsy flying units here. Will kill automatically an Oracle, and the splash damage will wipe the shields and half the hit points of a Phoenix, so very important not to fly too close. But as you mentioned, the Phoenix count being added later being kind of the way it's played, he's actually adding a lot of Phoenixes now, so maybe just going into Phoenix heavy comp in general.
Well, let's see how much he's gone up to. He's actually up at 5.
Yeah.
He is making more, as you said. 5 is the magical number, and if you're going past that, as you said, you're going to want a lot more. So, well, he goes up to 6, and then he stops. Actually cancels that 7 Phoenix. So maybe he's just going to go for 6.
Perhaps also, if he's going to go for this much, I would like to see him add +1 to his air weapons. Because that would be, obviously, make his Phoenixes much better.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he's going to make, a bunch more Phoenix, which it looks like he will. He's going to go into Phoenix with Chargelets and maybe eventually add some Archons in here.
6 gates, I think 7 gates. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think he's going to add a Templar Archive to Charge Zealot Archon Phoenix. We have seen this type of timing before. Usually not in Pro League, usually in, a best-of series, not in a best-of-1.
Was it? I know you were in Japan, but I think you were watching most of the games. Was herO actually the Protoss that did this before? He went for like a very heavy Chargelet comp and just killed his Terran opponent. I forget who it was.
Yeah, I think you're right. I believe it was herO who did that. And I can't remember the Terran player, but yeah, I do remember this game. There's another game in Star League with Zest playing, I think perhaps versus Maru, where he had quite a few Phoenixes in the comp. But I do remember a game with herO specifically that he won in a PBT with a similar type of composition. the composition is not. I would say it's fairly non-standard.
Oh yeah, I mean, usually these days you just see a ton of Colossi come out here. He scans and he actually doesn't see the army, but he's turning around, and this is kind of interesting because he's only now getting his third CC up. It's about halfway done. herO's had that base. You said 6:45. Right now it's 11:45. It's been 5 StarCraft minutes that he, since he started building that third base. So he's getting so far ahead.
Yeah, YoDa has no information about how long that base has been up. I just checked his vision. All he saw was the corner of the Nexus. For as far as he knows, when he just saw it just now, it could have just finished. He has no idea.
herO is just styling on this guy right now, sniping out Medivacs.
He literally stimmed 3/4 of his army just then as well. So a huge stim. A lot of hit points lost here. Medivacs starting to burn their energy. Do you have a Warp Prism about to finish up so he can send that across for counter harass when YoDa decides to ever leave his base? And with a second Robotics being added and a Bay, it is going to be that Phoenix Colossus composition you're talking about, leading into it in a different way. I think almost the charge was kind of used defensively here, so he had that charge out to hold off a big Marine-heavy army. And this is
kind of interesting, though. Like, why wouldn't you just go straight into the standard Colossi if you're worried about a big, Marine Marauder stim timing? Maybe because of the heavy amount of Marauders that are being used nowadays, he's going for the chargelets instead.
It was also an early factory opening, so maybe he really just wanted to make sure he could shut down those Widow Mines and then kind of built off of that with his Phoenixes. If you only need like 3 Phoenixes, really, I guess realistically almost even just 2 to defend that, but with three and more, you get into a pretty good spot. And he's just going to wipe this mineral line. Where's the response from YoDa? He's dealing with Phoenixes over here, so he can't actually send his bio back. This is a Shrekkening, man.
Oh boy, this is a total disaster. There's not a mineral line even in that third base. YoDa not even moving his troops, only moving half of them back to deal with this, where he has lost 19 SCVs, including the SCVs, of course, that he lost at that third base. The Phoenix is coming back around.
DreamWorks Pictures produces Shrek 4. Shrek 4 herO versus YoDa.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're watching right now.
Cameo from Star Wars.
We got double Colossus production on the way now. Also getting the Blink. +1/+1 upgrades. He's got 3 bases now for a very long time, so he kind of can do this.
Well, what the Phoenixes gives herO is, this is not YoDa like misplaying, except his somewhat late reaction to defend. But what he's done here is he's realized that, hey, herO has a ton of Phoenix on the map. It's tough for me to harass because he's going to backstab me with those. He's going to shut down my drops, so I kind of have to sit back. His third base was late, but it's understandably late because of his opening. But he didn't scout the third base of herO until late, so he's going off of false assumptions, which is a big problem.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like he's just been playing scared from the get-go, not really confident enough to put on any damage, no harass, as you said. Part of that was herO shutting it down. I mean, you even see this giant Phoenix spread where he's essentially saying, you are not dropping me. You are not coming across your side of the map. You stay over there in your corner, YoDa, and I'm going to take a 4th base. There's nothing you can do about it.
I can't believe he's even taking a 4th base. Like, how many Colossi does he have? He actually has 4 now with 2 more on the way. I guess he does have enough with range.
To be honest, man, I feel like herO could do whatever he wants at this point.
He's maxed out versus a 160.
He's massively ahead.
I mean, I feel like YoDa, if he went straight to the 4th base, he might have been on the force to cancel for a second, but that still would have been risky, especially once Blink finishes. He has no Vikings. He's just now making his first, his first set just finished. He's making his 2nd set now. So 3 Vikings to like 5 or 6 Colossi here.
Yep, look at this. He's spotted the army. He's going to start picking it apart. The charge that's coming in. Nice kiting here by YoDa, but it's a puny army compared to what herO's got.
Nice attempt to bait into those Widow Mines here by YoDa, but not going to work out. Good picks here by herO.
Those Oracles, man, the better and better these Protoss players get, the more utility we see out of these Oracles. They get a bit of early damage done, but you keep them alive at all costs.
Yeah, as long as you don't do what Classic did yesterday and realize, of course, they don't gain efficiency with quantity, but here we go. Look at this. This is Colossi. Thermal Lance is here doing massive damage. There's so many heavily upgraded Stalkers at the back. Time Warp's going down. Scans here. GG. Didn't even know about the 4th base. Scanning to see if he had one. He's like, whoa, he killed me and at a 4th base. I guess he's just CJ herO after all.
Yep. herO skipping along the Yellow Brick Road down to his 20th win here at Pro League, making it look easy. Very nicely played. Definitely a bit of non-standard play as well out of herO, making up to 9 Phoenixes there, 2 Oracles, just controlling the map in its fullest sense. Even the warp prism drop that he did while harassing with his Phoenixes, YoDa just kind of crumbled into, a million pieces.
He just really
20 SCVs.
He just really didn't have much of an answer there. It was kind of unfortunate. It was a solid build. Definitely something YoDa wasn't expecting. The biggest key problem I feel in that game was that YoDa didn't identify the third base was there until way too late. So by the time he knew that it was there, he thought it was probably a normal time to base, when in reality herO had way much more stuff, and he could have been pressuring a lot earlier. But then, even if you do pressure, the Phoenix is backstab, you kill a bunch of SCVs, the Warp Prism comes in, it's just a nightmare. You really have to get more damage done in the early game if you're going to do a build like that, which it gets kind of countered by Phoenixes.
Rough start there for YoDa. I feel like he just got totally controlled throughout the entire game there by herO.
Yeah, he's now, 0-7 versus Protoss, I believe?
No, he's 0-10 now.
0-10? Oh, my God.
He was 0-9, now he's 0-10 versus Protoss. By far his worst matchup. He's actually 4-4 in TVT, which is, amongst the lines of many other great players.
And this is a good pick for CJ, because Vaani research stations the map where you would expect to see a Terran player, but instead they knew, because there's only one solid Terran player on Prime, who's YoDa. He's much more solid than Tang Tang. You're probably going to hit YoDa, who's got a bad matchup versus Protoss, and you're going to beat him. It's a really smart move by CJ to actually play herO on this map.
Yeah, and he actually comes out all the time first. They put YoDa, I think, almost every single day as the first match. They're like, okay, you're our best player. Try to get a win. Maybe make your younger Dongsangs a bit more comfortable when they go into the booth. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.